There's no more denying it. The world's banking system is shaking under its own weight. Institutions all over the world, from Wall Street to Frankfurt to Singapore to London, are being made to face a cold, unpleasant truth. The economic system we've been using for decades is about to go through a period of unprecedented stress. The most unstable financial situation we have ever seen is caused by a mix of factors, including rising interest rates, growing debt, stricter credit rules, business real estate defaults, banking pressures, and political splits. Investors, banks, and governments all feel it. And every expert who is paying attention knows that the cracks that are appearing below the surface are getting bigger faster than anyone thought they would. As the fear starts to hit its peak, another voice joins the conversation: smart computers that can learn. AI tools are now being used all over the world to test stability models. Imagine what might happen in the future and look into how a financial system under stress might react if shocks get too big for the current rails to handle. Music. And inside those what-if crisis models made by AI were just guesses meant to start a conversation. XRP is a digital asset that keeps coming up as a possible tool for moving money around. AI doesn't know what prices will do or what the future holds. It just knows that when people give these systems information about a global liquidity crunch, they often show how technology that can instantly move value across borders is structurally better. And this is where the story starts. The coming together of fear, technology, rumors, and the growing belief that a digital asset made for real-time settlement could be useful in made-up situations where regular networks get too busy. The talk has gone crazy in online groups, financial circles, and crypto channels. People who like to run AI-based simulations say that when fake crises like bank runs, liquidity freezes, and stalled settlement chains are tried, the systems in the simulation need something that is quick, effective, and easy for everyone to access. Even though these are made-up situations, they make people think about what technologies would make a good crisis-proof liquidity line. That's where the design of XRP's record is always brought up: fast payment, low costs, certain outcomes, and the ability to move money around the world without having to wait days for clearance. All of this doesn't mean that AI can see into the future. It just means that when people practice fake disasters, they quickly learn that global cities can't freeze for a week, get backed up, or depend on old rails from the 20th century. When they realize this, they go straight to tools that are made to be fast and stable. Music. As people become more afraid of the chance of systemic financial stress, they start to connect two strong emotions: worry and hope. On the one hand, there is the growing worry that the banking system is too stretched. The other side of this coin is the idea that digital assets designed to make transactions more efficient could theoretically serve as lifeboats in crisis scenarios. This difference in how people feel creates an electric momentum that feeds the most extreme ideas. Some people use the guesstimated numbers that come up in these made-up models to start talking about the craziest possibilities, like huge price increases during full institutional stress testing. They use liquidity models to figure out how quickly trillions of dollars can move, which leads to big imaginary values. People who talk about speculation use numbers like 10,000%, 50,000%, or even 100,000% approval as part of their stories. Not because everyone knows what will happen, but because the math behind absorbing liquidity during full-scale crisis models is very interesting. The meaningful and unusual $500.50 price mark is one of the ones that people talk about the most. The more people learn about this AI-driven fantasy world, the more layers they add to the story. They start to think about what settlement tools are. They look into passageways of liquidity. They look at what happens when banks are under a lot of stress, when cash runs out, when cross-border transfers take longer than expected, and when the global economy needs money to move right away. Music. One main idea is strengthened by each level of study. When things go wrong, speed is the most valuable thing. Assets like XRP become important parts of every made-up scenario of a digitally advanced future where banks need faster payment during crises, not because they are sure, but because of how the system is built. The ledger is designed to work best in a fast, low-friction setting, which is exactly what institutions may need if money problems get too big. When people put these ideas together, they begin to imagine a world where digital rails are necessary. Music. This video's deep dive continues by looking at how AI-powered tools change how people think about these assets when they run simulations with crisis-related factors like tightening money, lack of liquidity, or settlement delays. A lot of the time, The model says that digital payment lines would be better in situations with theoretical stress. Because of how it is built, XRP is always brought up when people talk about what a digitally improved payment system might look like. One more time, this is not the same as prediction. Pattern recognition based only on design specs is the same thing. But for many investors who are watching the world, these trends look like signs of things to come. They see the role that AI came up with for XRP as a sign that the digital world is changing. And when people start to connect AI models with worries about the economy, the story, well, it really takes off. Up until the fully developed arc of this video analysis, we looked at global macroeconomics, rising debt loads, geopolitical pressures, currency wars, supply chain recalibration, and the growing digitization of value across borders. In this setting, technology settlement layers are even more important. Flows of money and goods around the world depend on value transfer systems working properly. This includes multinational companies, international suppliers, and trade routes. If these systems are threatened by uncertainty, people around the world start looking for new technologies. Because of this, digital assets, especially those made for settlement, are still getting a lot of attention. The conversation turns into a reality when AI-based scenario tools look at the future. It doesn't matter if there is a fall or a rise in XRP, the trend is still there. The way money moves around the world is being changed. As this long video story comes to a close, we connect the fear of collapse with the interest in AI, the interest in high-speed ledger technology, the discussions about possible prices, and the emotional momentum that really makes people believe in big possibilities. The $500.50 situation stands for how the world has changed. Music. It stands for the idea that digital assets could become very useful tools. It stands for the idea that, crisis makes chance. And it really does show how fear of the economy and hope for technology are coming together. In the end, the story about XRP and models of financial collapse is not about knowing what will happen. It looks at what might happen in a world where the economy changes quickly and honestly in ways that no one saw coming. To put it another way, it's all about thinking the worst possible economic situations and trying to figure out how different assets might fit into those made-up worlds. The main point is pretty easy to understand. Even though no one knows what will happen next, people keep talking about XRP because it's at the center of technology, usefulness, and prediction. This is especially true right now when everyone is looking for answers. Now that we've finished this huge deep dive, let's go over one last thing. Don't take any of this as business advice. As you can see, these are just stories, ideas, simulations, and guesses. Always do your own study, stay up to date, and never trust just the hype.